Good morning. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. He's currently on tour with New Kids on the Block as fill-in roadie, one of his dream jobs that he had as a kid. He will be back next week. But in the meantime, we get to hang out for the next 5 days. That of course, was Genesis, led by Phil Collins. We're going to talk more about Genesis and Phil Collins and even Peter Gabriel later on in the show today at about 11 o'clock. What is on the agenda for today? Well, later this hour, we are going to take a look at the use of AI when it comes to scribing medical information. How that will save doctors time and free them up for more important tasks like working with patients. 10 o'clock this morning, I will be joined by, quote unquote, the internet's favorite dad, Brittlestar, also known as Stuart Reynolds, is going to be here talking about his latest book, which is entitled Lessons from Cats for Surviving Fascism. I can't wait. I read it over the weekend. Can't wait to talk with Brittlestar about it as well, too. 10:30 this morning, we are going to discuss the idea of a national beach safety strategy when it comes to dealing with riptides. Oftentimes, we think about riptides when it comes to the ocean. We are going to have an expert talking with us today who wants us to focus specifically on the Great Lakes, actually, and talk about why we need to know what's going on out there. We're also going to introduce you to a local program aimed at supporting marginalized groups learning how to swim. We're also going to check in with some folks dealing with the recent layoffs at Conestoga College. That's all in the 10:30 to 11 half hour that we've got this morning. 11 o'clock this morning. This Week in Music History with Brian Allison. That is a weekly segment, and we're going to continue with that in the vein of what normally happens around here. We're going to keep doing that. We're going to chat about all of the big stories from what happened this week in music history. 11:30, I am proud to say David Drewe is going to join me here physically in the studio for Drewe's Views. We are going to talk about what a small world it is. We'll get into that. We'll talk about some local political issues. We'll talk on some federal concerns. And who knows where we might end up. But you better be paying attention at 11:30 because it is going to be quite an adventure. And also, keeping with the Mike Farwell tradition, the last hour of the show today is going to be Talkback. So, you've just come off a weekend. What's on your mind? I'll pull out the soapbox for you. I'll dust it off and give you a chance to say what's on your mind. We'll do that as well at the end of the day today for the last hour from noon until 1 o'clock. To get us started today, though, Farwell Show 5. So 5 headlines that you need to know. Number 5. Waterloo region is facing yet another heat wave for this coming week, so you can expect daytime highs between 29 and 32 degrees Celsius. At the same time, today, we're also dealing with some poor air quality out there this morning, so best to stay indoors, stay put, keep your radio tuned to 570 News Radio. We'll keep you company for the next few hours. Number 4, the latest from the DC studio world, Superman fared well in its opening weekend, earning just over $500 million worldwide, and yet some people say, oh, it didn't do so well. Well, maybe you can beat the heat and you can hunker down in a local movie theater this afternoon, but wait until after 1 o'clock, and you can see what all the fuss is about for yourself. Number 3, the Toronto Blue Jays. They are entering the All-Star break with 14 wins in their last 20 games. They sit atop the American League East. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. and Alejandro Kirk are going to be representing the Bluebirds in the Midsummer Classic this week. The Home Run Derby is slated for this evening as well, too, so you want to tune into that. Number 2, duty-free shops along the border facing the possibility of having to shutter their doors, as many have seen revenue drops anywhere between 60 and 80% because we're just not making those trips across the border like we used to. You would stop in and pick up a deal on some beverages, a deal on some cologne, on who knew, whatever it was that you needed to get you through and make your way down, and also on the way back up again. But it's just not happening anymore, or not as much anyway. And then number one on your Farwell Show Top 5, 2 cyclists injured in separate incidents in the region over the weekend. One saw a teenager sent to hospital after an e-bike collided with an SUV. In the other incident, same scenario, a cyclist sustained severe injuries after being involved in a collision with a vehicle. So there's your Farwell 5 for your Monday. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us here, 1-800-570-5715, and let us know what's on your mind. The phone lines are always open. We've got lots of things to talk about. Brock Greenhalgh with you this week. A couple of things. I'm going to plant a couple of things in your brain anyway about some things that I noticed this weekend. I got to tell you, Canadian sunsets, spending time with good dogs, how the role that nature played in my weekend as well. And I also want to give a shout out to CAA. So those are some raves. Those are some raves that I have, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them. We will take a quick break, but as I said before, give us a call. You can reach us here in studio, 519-570-2545, star 570, or you can also reach us toll-free, 1-800-570-5715. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for the vacationing Mike Farwell this week. He is, a much needed vacation for Mike as well, too. You think about how busy he is in May, and then June's a blur for a lot of us. So good for him. How was your weekend? We were lucky enough to be invited to a friend's cottage this past weekend along the shores of Georgian Bay, and I must say, the most spectacular sunsets that I've seen in a long time. Along with many Canadians, we chose to spend our vacation days here north of the 49th parallel, and can't complain. That little getaway also allowed us to be in the company of some very good dogs, and we're talking dogs, we're talking cats today. There's something to be said about what's the quote? There's nothing better for the inside of a human than the outside of a dog, right? So I was hanging out with a couple of friends, Clark and Billy. They kept me company this weekend, and some other friends as well, too. The other cool thing that we got to do this weekend, we watched a northern map turtle, female, lay her eggs right on the beach, right close to where we were. How often do you get a chance to see something like that? That was really, really interesting to see that. And once she was done, she wandered back into the water and left the eggs to their own devices. We'll see what happens there. We'll keep an update, and I would like to learn more how those things are going to unfold. The other thing I want to do, I'm going to give a shout out right now to the CAA. Yesterday afternoon, get a phone call from my youngest at 4:30 in the afternoon. Hey, the car broke down. I am on Highway 35 over near Pontypool, which is close to Peterborough, Ontario. And what can we do? We gave CAA a call, and I had to add my youngest as an associate member on my membership. They came, they picked him up and the car, dropped them both off at our home. And here was this guy. And I said to him, well, where's home for you? And after he dropped off our son and vehicle, he said, I've got to make my way back to Oshawa. And this was at 9 o'clock last night in my driveway. So thank you so much to CAA for giving us that service. And I know it's part of his job, but man, oh man, that extra 2-hour drive all the way back to Oshawa, I'm sure wasn't on his list of things that he wanted to do in in that time frame. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us, 1-800-570-5715. Let me know. How was your weekend? Looking at the rest of today, we are going to be talking with a gentleman with the Cambridge North Dumfries health team. Raymond Dolch is going to join us, walking us through this new AI program that they are using called Heidi. It's a transcription tool, and it's used to take over the task of note-taking. Also, it will develop detailed care notes. That means that the docs get to spend more time working with the patients. And the feedback so far has been amazing. You think about the time that you spend in talking with your doctor. The use of this AI will save 11 minutes per consultation on average. So that means that the docs get to see more people. 80% of the notes require very little edit, which is nice to see as well, too. And when it comes to how the docs are feeling about it, 90% who are using this new program say that they are feeling less stress and less burnout because this is taking over a big chunk of their responsibility. And it's nice for us to be able to see that something else is stepping in there as well, too. Later on this morning, we're going to talk to Brittlestar, also known as Stuart Reynolds. He is from just down the road in Stratford, and if you've never seen any of his social media, it's unreal. You got to Google it. He is we were of the similar generation. I'll put it that way, but his view of the world and how quickly he responds to issues that come up from a provincial or national or international viewpoint. He's always on. He's written a book called Lessons from Cats for Surviving Fascism. So we're going to talk with him at 10 o'clock this morning. And we've also got some other people coming in the studio as well today, too. At who else have we got? At 11 o'clock, I'm going to be talking with Brian Allison, and that is a regular segment that Mike has here on the show. We'll be talking about this week in music history. 11:30, we'll have the chance to talk with David Drewe, who is going to come into the studio, and then it's your turn. From noon until 1 today, it's the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour. Phone lines are pretty quiet right now. This is not a repeat. We're not repeating an old show. Feel free to give us a call. Let us know what's happening. And I know some of you are shocked. You're like, oh my gosh, Brock, we haven't heard from you in like a year and a half. That's okay. I can walk you through what I've been up to lately, and we can have that chat. And I'll give you, fill you in all the I'll spill the tea, as the kids say. Let's take another quick break. Again, you can give us a call, and we'll have a chat. 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell, 1-800-570-5715. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh with you this week, filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. Never fear, he will be back behind Mike next week. Happy National Mac and Cheese Day, July 14th. There are 4 that I can find national days today. Make of them what you will. National Mac and Cheese Day. Next one might go with the fact that it is another hot and humid day. National Nude Day. National Tape Measure Day, and as well as National Grand Marnier Day. I don't know which of those 4 that you would use to celebrate the day. Maybe you're going to use all 4. It's totally up to you. But those are the days for July 14th. Speaking of days and July 14th, we are going to be taking a look at this week in music history as we head into the 11 o'clock hour later on today, taking a look at what's coming up for the rest of this week as well, too. Some of the regulars, right? We're going to be seeing some of the regulars every day. We'll make sure that we've got the Talkback in place for you. Friday, we'll have the Friday 4 panel. We'll be doing the flip side. Ian Hunter is going to be joining us this week to talk about the Blue Jays. We'll also be talking about what's going on with WRSE. And then we've got some new friends that are going to be joining us as well, too. We've got the drummer from local band Something's Always Flying. He's going to be joining us on Wednesday. Adam Vosding, the traveling food dude, is going to join us from Colorado on Wednesday as well, too. Dr. Allison Young, the Smartphone Effect MD. She's been on the show before. She's actually our family doctor and is willing to talk about the effect of cell phones and kids as well, too. Local author Krista Strauss is going to be with us on Friday this week as well, too. We'll talk Blues Fest. We're going to be talking with folks from Food for Kids as well, be talking with people with the Center for Family Business. So lots of things happening this week. I know Mike's away, and it's like, well, what are you going to do? Well, there's a lot of good things that we are able to do, and we'll keep you company through the entire week, and we want to hear what you've got to say as well, too. Listen, we're coming to the bottom of the hour, so we are going to head into a news break here on 570 News Radio. When we come back, what is an AI medical scribe, and how does it work? You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh with you here, filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell this week. Never fear, he'll be back next week. The Cambridge North Dumfries Ontario Health Team, the CND-OHT, has seen some positive results since starting to use an artificial intelligence scribe earlier this year. Heidi is an AI transcription tool. It's used to take over the task of note-taking and developing detailed care notes as well, too. Raymond Dolch is the digital health lead for the team, and he joins us this morning. Good morning, Raymond, and thanks for giving us some of your time today.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Can you walk us through what Heidi does and maybe outline some of the positive strides that you've seen so far?
Sure. And actually, if I may, I might actually just explain what a Ontario Health Team is for those that might not be too familiar. So the Cambridge North Dumfries Ontario Health Team, it's comprised of around 40 plus health agencies and providers across Cambridge and North Dumfries. So we serve about 150,000 plus people. And really the purpose is to work towards building a high-performing integrated care delivery system. So really with the focus of achieving better outcomes for patients and improving population health. Now, part of doing that is we take a look at different initiatives and quality improvement, things that we can do to really address better patient outcomes. And one of those things is AI Scribe that has kind of landed on our plates here. And really, with anything that we do, any problems that are identified, any projects that we're considering, really we want to ensure that it's clinically led, digitally enabled. So we took a look at some of the problems that are currently going on in the healthcare space locally anyways. And, we're seeing lots of providers go through situations where they have to do excessive documentation. It's leading to burnout. They're spending overtime after hours kind of doing their notes, or sometimes they're even shortening their sessions with patients to be able to fit in their note-taking. And actually, there was a report done last summer, by Amplify Care, which is a local non-for-profit. They co-led an evaluation with Ontario MD and Women's College Hospital. And it found in that report that more than 70% of primary care providers are experiencing burnout.
Right.
And 40%, or providers are reporting 40% of their time on average is spent on administrative tasks. So things that they're doing paperwork, that kind of stuff. So to address that issue, part of the report outlined that they took a look at some AI scribes, and they found early success with it, reporting that on average, they found a decrease of about 3 hours per week on administrative tasks per provider. So that kind of piqued our mind a little bit. We thought, you know what, let's try a locally pilot for us, for our clinicians in our area. And that's sort of how we landed on choosing Heidi as our solution. So we went through a procurement process where we took a look at, there's so many AI scribe vendors out there, and really to explain what an AI scribe is. The way I like to describe it anyways is it's a digital scribe in a sense. So the idea of a scribe is not new. It's not novel. Back in the day, they used to have people following doctors into offices, and they would actually write their notes for them. Obviously, that's not necessarily as economical nowadays. So then they move towards more of a dictation type software where they're, just talking and it's transcribing everything that they say into a note. But the problem with that is they have to do it usually after hours still anyways. Right. But B, it's incorporating all the words that they're saying. So you sometimes, if at the beginning of a patient encounter, you're having a conversation about, how's your day going? How are you feeling? That kind of stuff. Maybe it's not necessary for the clinical note. So that's where I think the AI scribe really helps out, is it kind of removes any of the irrelevant pieces for the note, and it kind of summarizes it in a way that makes sense for the physician and clinician. So when you come into the office, whether it be your physician, nurse practitioner, social worker, dietitian, whatever, they collect consent from you first. So they ask, are you okay? I have this AI scribe project that we're working on. Can I use this for our patient encounter? So the patient has to agree to whether or not they want to participate first. It listens to your encounter that you have with your physician, nurse practitioner, creates a transcription, and then removes some of that irrelevant information and structures the note in a way that a physician or nurse practitioner is used to for their own records. So that's generally how it works, and how we sort of came to be with the AI Scribe project here.
And you mentioned that there were a lot of other considerations out there. Was it an easy choice for the group to settle on going with Heidi?
Yeah. So there's, as you can imagine, AI is a huge topic nowadays. So there's so many vendors out there trying to vie for market share, and for us, anyways, it actually was a fairly easy choice. So what we did was, we had clinicians choose what vendor that they thought they would like to use. So we took a look at things like what are some of the features and functionalities. Privacy and security is a huge component of it as well. So, where is data being stored? How is data being used? That kind of stuff. Pricing is also a really big piece for us, especially in the public space. But ultimately, it was the usability and user-friendliness of Heidi that really attracted our clinicians to selecting them as our successful vendor. And that was done in, we went live March this year.
And I know that there are some of the stats that had come out as well too, from the impact that had been posted. You talked about the fact that 100% of your clinicians say that it's allowed them to increase their presence with their patients. And I would think from a patient's point of view, that's got to be number one, right? That the idea of being seen and being heard and spending time with that doctor or clinician, or as you said, dietitian, whoever it happens to be, that face to face or virtual, but that connection has got to be number one. And if this is allowing you, those clinicians to report an increase in that, I think it's got to be an amazing step for them.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. I think that's one of the pieces with AI technology I think we'll start to see in the future as well, just broadly speaking. It's really for us to define how we want to use AI in our lives. And I think the human connection is something that is so important, especially in healthcare. So I want to kind of reiterate to everybody that our intent is not to replace the job of a clinician at all. No. And quite opposite, actually. So really, we're wanting to increase the human connection that your clinician can have with a patient, so they don't have to take notes while they're seeing you in their visit. They can focus directly on you, spend time on you, and be present. And I actually have a quote from one of our doctors, Dr. Camilla Singh. She's our primary care lead at the OHT. But this is what she had to say about using Heidi. She says, quote start, "Using Heidi has elevated my practice as a family physician, not having to focus on note-taking. I can engage more with my patients, listen to their concerns, ask thoughtful questions, and develop more personalized and effective care plans, end quote. So that's sort of the types of feedback that we're seeing already, and we've only been live for about five or so months now.
Right.
I would say, what does this mean for you? So for you, the public, providers, and really the system as a whole. I think for providers, really what this means is, they can get home at the end of the day at a reasonable time. They don't have to spend time after work doing their note taking. And
as you're talking about that idea of work-life balance, right? These are the caregivers, right, and the caretakers, and we need to make sure that they're cared for as well too, and finding that balance.
Exactly, yeah, and especially at a time when, we're seeing a real big problem with attachment and access to people having availability to primary care. This might give the opportunity for some providers to actually see more patients in a day.
That's perfect.
As well. So this can improve access. I think for the public, we've kind of touched on it a little bit. More present clinicians that can focus on you. You can have the confidence that everything that you're discussing during your encounter with a clinician is actually being documented properly. And also, I think at a system level, so really the big result that we've seen that we're really proud of is weekly a total reduction of about 500 clinical hours per week, which, if you're using the Ontario Medical Association standard rate for remuneration at $160 per hour, that's a weekly cost savings of $80,000 to the healthcare system, and that's just locally in Cambridge and North Dumfries. So it's incredible, the results that we're seeing.
Raymond, thanks so much for giving us some of your time today, and I hope that we're going to continue this discussion, obviously, but best of luck moving forward. Thanks again.
Great. Thanks for having me.
That was Raymond Dolch. He's the digital health lead at the Cambridge North Dumfries health team, talking about some early successes with using artificial intelligence when it comes to medical scribing. We're going to take a quick break. We'll pay some bills. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us toll-free, 1-800-570-5715. Phone lines are always open. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
They took a look at some AI scribes, and they found early success with it, reporting that on average, they found a decrease of about 3 hours per week on administrative tasks per provider. So that kind of piqued our mind a little bit. We thought, you know what, let's try a locally pilot for us, for our clinicians in our area. And that's sort of how we landed on choosing Heidi as our solution.
That was Raymond Dolch, digital health lead at the Cambridge North Dumfries health team, talking about some early successes with using artificial intelligence when it comes to medical scribing. And as he was saying, when it comes to AI, there are all kinds of programs that are out there. They left it up to the clinicians to make a decision as to which one they wanted to go with. And Heidi Health is the program that was put in place for about the last 5 months or so. Some of the feedback that they've been getting, clinicians are saying 90% of them are saying they feel less stress, less burnout. 80% of the notes that have been taken require very minimal edits. So that's nice to see as well, too, that idea of saving some time so that they can see more patients and more of patients, if we want to put it that way. And Raymond made a good point, the idea that AI is not replacing those clinicians. It's not about AI coming in and that's what's going to determine what are you dealing with? What's your illness? What's your plan moving forward? This one specifically is about scribing those notes. And you think back to doctors that would take or any clinician would take hours to. They're scribing, they're talking into their phone these days. They're trying to get these notes down, and the number of people they see in a day, and the information that is gone both ways. I know for me, for example, if I can go and see my GP, I always take my phone with me or a notebook, because what we talk about. I want to jot those things down and remind myself about them when I go back. At the same time, she's typing away, and this is going to be helping them out as well too. So that's where we're seeing AI being put to good use when it comes to medical scribing. So that's interesting when we're able to see what impact that has. And Raymond talked about the fact that the health team itself that's in Cambridge, North Dumfries, it is made up of about 150,000 people, and their goal really is to achieve better patient outcomes. So you think about if you can share information from one clinician over here who's dealing with one issue that you've got, and they want to share that information, or they want to be able to talk about moving forward and how do we improve those things. All of those things are much more they're easy to share those things as well too. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for Mike Farwell this week. He is away on holidays. Feel free to give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-570-5715. Phone lines are always open. After the 10 o'clock news, we'll get a chance to talk with Canada's very own brittle star, also known as the internet's favorite dad, also known as Stuart Reynolds, also known as a cat lover, apparently. Let's take a quick break. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh with you this week, filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell, apparently on a tour of southern Ontario to find the ultimate butter tart on his two-wheeled stallion. I'm just making this up. I have no idea where he is. Maybe in his backyard, hanging in a hammock. Good for him, wherever he happens to be. Go and take that vacation. Coming up on the show next, after the 10 o'clock news, Canada's very own brittle star, Stuart Reynolds. He calls Stratford home. And if you are not familiar with any of his work, go check him out. He's a writer, he's a comedian, internet sensation, and in his own words, the internet's favorite dad. He constantly churns out new content, all with an eye on what craziness continues to come out of our political climate here, current political climate, both north and south of the border. He's going to be on the show to talk about his new book, Lessons from Cats for Surviving Fascism. I read through the book last week, and over the weekend, there are 11 lessons that you need to learn that cats can teach us. Here are some of my favorites. Stay nimble and unpredictable. Never lose your nap time. Hey, that makes sense to me. I like this. This kind of goes hand in hand with it as well too. Make sure that you can perfect the art of vanishing. Maybe you can combine that with the nap time, right? You vanish, a nap happens. None the wiser, anybody that's in the home. Remember, you're always the boss. Take over spaces that aren't yours. I do that when I come in and I fill in for Farwell. He probably notices that some of his pens are gone when he comes back in again. And I don't know where they went. Anyway, those are some of the things that you can learn from cats. Are you a cat person? Are you a dog person? Let us know. We'll talk more about that as well, too. Before noon today, we're also going to talk about the idea of a national beach safety program. And then we'll check in with some folks impacted by recent layoffs at the Conestoga College. We'll do our weekly check-in with Brian Allison at 11 o'clock this morning. And we'll be talking about This Week in Music History. I'm really looking forward to that as well, too. 11:30, David Drewe in the flesh, in the studio for Drew's Views. Then after the noon news, it is your turn. The phones have been eerily quiet, Jen. So I know she's going to push all the right buttons, and we'll get people online, and we'll hear from all of you. And you've all got things to say. You've had a weekend either to build up a rant about something, or find a way to rave about something as well too. So Talkback is going to happen from noon until 1 o'clock. We're at the top of the hour. We're going to take a head into a news break right now on 570 News Radio. When we come back, Brittle Star. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
Cats, selfish jerks who refuse to do what they're told, or fluffy little resistance machines? In this age of creeping authoritarianism, we decided to seek out lessons from cats for surviving fascism.
Brock Greenhalgh with you this week. As Mike Farwell has earned a much-needed vacation. That, of course, was Brittle Star. When I was a kid, my furry companion for 16 years was a tabby cat named Boots, and she lived a good, long life, and I've got a lot of happy memories of her. My mom used to say Boots was no conversationalist, but she made up for that shortcoming by being a great listener and was the only family member who knew all of my mom's secrets. So over the weekend, and last week, I read our next guest book, Lessons from Cats for Surviving Fascism, and it took me back to those days with Boots. Brittle Star, also known as Stuart Reynolds, resides in Stratford, but in reality, he resides in our hearts as someone who looks at the craziness of our world and says, what would cats do? Thanks so much for giving us some of your time today.
Of course. I like the idea that I live in people's hearts. That makes you sound very romantic. I like it.
Who are or who have been the cats in your life?
Oh, my goodness. There's been so many. You know, what's really funny about the book is that I started out writing it as a bit of a joke, as a bit like, haha, it's not really funny. And the more I wrote about it, the more I was seeing the parallels between the connections between real life, like history events, and just current events today as well. And it was a bit distressing in a sense. It's kind of, especially when you start something as a joke and you're thinking this is going to be really funny, and you get into it and you're like, oh God, this might be a survival guide.
Well, you bring up a great point, because I know that as I read it, I could see that your tongue was firmly placed within your cheek there, but there's these clear undertones that you're dealing with a serious issue. How do you find that balance between humor and heavy topics that keep coming up in the news every day?
Well, I think what's important for me personally is, you know, being aware of the fact, like about sort of 5 years ago, I realized I've got a bit of a platform. Yeah. And I often compare myself to Oprah, not just in intelligence, but good looks as well. But no, I do because, you know, I remember my whole thing with connection to Oprah is that she would do her talk show in the 80s in Chicago, and it was very salacious. It was very like whatever gets eyeballs. Yeah. And she built up a huge audience. And then once she got a huge audience, she was like, okay, I guess I should probably do something good with this now. Right. And I respected that. I certainly respected that. And I felt like, you know, for the same way, I've got a platform, I've got a bit of an audience, I can take some messaging and I can use it for good. I can still entertain first and sell second, but I've got to be able to, you know, make people laugh or make people think or make people enjoy their time spent consuming my content, and then hopefully have some constructive messaging behind that as well.
I'm always amazed at how cat-like your reflexes are. when it comes to you develop this timely content. It seems like something newsworthy happens overnight. By early morning, you've already created a video related to the topic. You've got posts on it already. Do you have set hours in your day when you're developing content, or you're just like, oh man, I got to talk about Trump having a UFC fight on the lawn of the White House today?
No, it's anytime, 24/7. It doesn't matter what time it is. If I'm awake, then I'm on the clock.
There you go.
Yeah, no, you have to be ready. And I'm lucky enough to have sort of all the production capabilities and set up here in the house, so I can the turnaround time's pretty quick if I need it to be.
I know there's always that worry of becoming overwhelmed by 24/7 news cycle, and even though you are looking at these issues and you're looking at through that lens of humor or sarcasm or whatever it happens to be, do you find that you need to walk away sometimes?
Absolutely, you absolutely do. It's fascinating, even like geographically. The book came out the 24th of June, and we went to the publisher in the U.S., Grand Central Publishing in Hachette. In March, we had a meeting, and this, maybe don't come to the U.S. right now. It's probably not a great time for you to travel to the U.S., just in case.
Wow.
And so I went to the U.K. instead. But what's fascinating about the U.K. is we spent the majority of our time in directly in London, and it's a different perspective. You're walking away. There's definitely their own political news there for sure.
Right.
But it's like you're walking away from the issues, and you really kind of need to get a bit of distance, because it's too easy to have your nose to the canvas, too close, and not be able to properly process things. It's a bit like in the book, there's a chapter called "Naps or Resistance," and it's true. It's very true. There's the news cycle will try to overwhelm you, and you need to take a break and a bit of a breather every now and then so you can act accordingly.
That idea, that was one of my favorites, and I wanted to tie in, naps with, never lose your nap time, and maybe pair that up with, perfect the art of vanishing. Right, so that it's the old Irish goodbye. Like, where's Stuart gone? He's probably having a nap. Yeah, and that's exactly it. Right. As we age, these are the ways that you plan out your day, and you don't have to explain. I'll say to my wife, "Yeah, I think I might have to have a nap today." She's like, "You don't have to justify it. You don't have to justify. You've earned that nap, right?"
Exactly.
And it's good to have that. You get a little pat on the back. It's like, yeah, go have that nap. Are you a napper? That's a really personal question. I want to ask it.
Personal question. I mean, a little bit. I mean, I think it's really. I've gotten. I think one of the things. It's not so much about getting older and needing naps, which I think maybe you probably do anyway. But I think that it's getting older and getting more mature and realizing that you have to decide to take a break, or your body will decide for you.
Exactly.
That idea. And I think it's also like even just the mental capacity. If you're operating at 40% and having a nap's going to bring you back up to 80 or 90, then you should probably have a nap.
There you go. That's like medical advice from Brittle Star.
Exactly.
I like it.
Non-binding, non-legal.
Lessons from Cats is available. It's on most platforms. What's in the works next? What's happening for Brittle Star?
That's a really good question. I mean, there's so many things different things happening. We've got a podcast is broken, of course, which is our weekly podcast on Canadian news and politics. And I mean, there's more writing stuff. I loved writing the book. I loved my short attention span was perfect for this book because the book is 60 pages long. So I can see me doing more of that kind of stuff. But the book has been sold around the world. And the French publisher referred to me as a modern-day Voltaire, and I thought, I know, that was pretty good. Yeah,
I like that. Man,
I like
the idea
of doing these small books and getting these huge accolades.
Yeah, forget War and Peace. Just,
exactly.
write, go for the Petit Prince, right? The Little Prince, do something like that.
You can't get it out in 60 pages. Is it really worth saying?
Listen, thanks so much. I know you're a busy guy, but thanks so much for giving us some of your time today. Always a great chance to chat with you, and you've set my day off on a positive note. Thanks so much, Brittle Star.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Take care.
All right, you too. That was Brittle Star, also known as Stuart Reynolds, from just down the road, just over in Stratford, chatting about his latest book, Lessons from Cats for Surviving Fascism. He mentions the fact that it's 60 pages, but it is 60 pages well written and 60 pages well read. Let's put it that way as well, too. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, give us a shout. Let us know what's going on. What's on your mind today? Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us, 1-800-570-5715. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on on 570 News Radio.
Felt like for the same way, I've got a platform, I've got a bit of an audience, I can take some messaging and I can use it for good. I can still entertain first and sell second, but I've got to be able to, make people laugh or make people think or make people enjoy their time spent consuming my content, and then hopefully have some constructive messaging behind that as well.
That was Brittle Star, also known as Stuart Reynolds. He is a content creator, a comedian, writer. You see him all over different social platforms, and he's just down the street. He's from Stratford. He's written a book, Lessons from Cats for Surviving Fascism, and it is written as tongue in cheek, but it also deals with some very pertinent content that's going on today. We talked about the fact that you need to be able to take a step back sometimes, because even if you're looking at something from that humor lens, or you can become overwhelmed by that 24/7 news cycle. And you need to make sure that you've got some time for yourself. He talked about the fact that when the book came out a few months ago, prior to that, they were talking with the folks connected to the book down in the States, and basically they told him, probably not a good idea to come down here right now. We don't want to hear that, but we know that's the case. We know that's That's true. So, Lessons from Cats, again, available on a lot of the platforms that are out there. If you're looking for a copy, you can borrow mine, but I'd rather you get your own. 11 chapters to it. Taking over spaces that aren't yours, keeping your claws sharp, remembering that you are always the boss, right? When it comes, if you've ever lived with cats or lived with dogs, you know that dogs are always there for you, right? They wait by the door until you come home. Cats are just waiting for you to feed them, basically. Now, again, that's not exactly always true. Are you a cat person? Are you a dog person? Are you both? As I said before, I got to spend the weekend with some lovely doggies, Billy and Clark. Completely different dogs. One very aloof, one very much in your face and wanted, lots of scratches and cuddles and all that sort of stuff. But both of them you get that warm, tingly sensation in your heart when you're hanging out with the puppy dogs. Same thing happens, I'm sure, if you're hanging out with your cats. Just a great way to look at things. What these cats do, right? He calls them, fuzzy little resistance machines. They're not putting up with anything, those cats. And if you try to pull the wool over their eyes, it's not going to happen either. Looking at the rest of the show today, we are going to be talking with Chris Hauser at 10:30 this morning. He's a professor in the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences at University of Waterloo. He's recently published an article with a focus on rip currents in the Great Lakes and the need for swimmers to learn about them, as well as to be prepared for them as well too. So that's at 10:30. We're going to be talking middle of that block, around 10:45-ish. We'll be talking with Vicky Poirier. She's the president of OPSU Local 238, as well as Leopold Koff. He's the president of OPSU Local 23. When it comes to what's been going on at Conestoga College and the layoffs that are happening over there. 11 o'clock this morning, This Week in Music History with Brian Allison. We'll talk with him at 11. 11:30 today in studio, right here in our space is going to be David Drewe. And prior to today, I have never met him in person. We started messaging back and forth a few days ago. I've learned a lot of things and can't wait to meet him in person. And that's Drewe's Views at 11:30. I know you must be waiting for noon. You're waiting for the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour because I haven't heard from any of you yet. I'm sure you want to tell me something. You want to tell me about your weekend. You want to tell me about your cats. You want to tell me about your dogs. You want to tell me about how hot it is outside and how bad the air quality is. All of those things. You get your chance. Rant, rave, smile, frown. All of those things you can do at noon. Heck, you can do them before that as well, too. Give me a shout. Let me know what's going on, and we'll go from there. There's always a chance for you to have your say. 519-570-2545. Star 570 on your cellular device. You can also call 1-800-570-5715. And lots still that's going to be going on for the rest of the week. We've got a ton of cool things that are going to be happening between now and Friday. So we will keep you company. No worries about that. And Mike gets to just sit back and relax and enjoy. He's got another week, I think, in August, so I get to do this all over again in August. So if you can't get enough this week, you can tune in between as well, but you'll be able to hear me again in August, and I'm looking forward to it. A little nervous this morning when I came on the air. I've been up since 3:30 this morning. I woke up, and I was just like, big day today, and I started practicing, talking. My wife wasn't a big fan. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. Don't worry. He's back next week. You've got a few choices tonight if you're trying to figure out what to watch. The Major League Baseball Home Run Derby is on. I don't know if that floats your boat or what. The one thing that I the last couple of years anyway, it's given me hope is when I see Alejandro Kirk playing baseball, catching for the Jays. I don't want to use the term dad bod, but I see a lot of myself in Alejandro Kirk. He's a lot younger than I am, but I think if that guy can make it, maybe any of us could make it one of these days. Now, he's not in the home run derby. He's going to be playing in the game tomorrow night. But again, check out the home run derby if that's your thing. Did you watch the end of Love Island? That was never on my list of things to do until I was introduced to the show this weekend by two of the people we were visiting up in Georgian Bay. Sky, Mo, you know who you are, convinced me to sit and watch an episode of Love Island. Kind of like a train wreck. You can't turn away from it. Maybe that's your thing as well, too. My summer guilty pleasure used to be Big Brother. You know, when the kids were younger and my wife and I would get them to bed throughout the summer and it'd be like, okay, let's sit down, 9 o'clock, we can watch it. It's this kind of like, not a lot of thinking going on and you just kind of giggle at what's going on. A lot of those things out there these days. Maybe that was your thing as well, too. Another show, do you have your kind of collection of binge-worthy shows? I got to put a plug in for a couple of them right now. The Pit. If you haven't watched The Pit, and you don't mind a medical drama, I got to give them 2 thumbs up for The Pit. It is Noah Wiley, who used to be in ER. Still a little cutie out there for those of you who remember Noah. He's the main character. The storyline is like this. It is every episode is the next hour in an ER, in an emergency room at a hospital in Pittsburgh. So that is, one episode we had to stop it, not because it was gross or anything like that. I just said to my wife, I'm like, I need a break. I got to catch my breath. This is so much going on. What's your binge-worthy shows? It's a hot day out there today. Maybe you're gonna just sit inside, take it easy, and you've got a couple of shows that you want to watch. I tell you, if you haven't seen The Pit, that is something you want to look at as well too. 9 Perfect Strangers. My wife got me onto that one as well too. That was something else. We're coming to the bottom of the hour. We're going to get an update from the 570 News Radio News Center. When we come back, rip currents in the Great Lakes, what you need to know. We're going to be speaking with a professor in the Department of Earth and Environmental Science at University of Waterloo. He has recently published an article with a focus on rip currents in the Great Lakes. Who knew? Feel free to give us a call anytime, 519-570-2545, star 570 as well. You can also reach us toll-free, 1-800-570-5715. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell this week. Chris Hauser is a professor in the Department of Earth and Environmental Science. He's the Dean of Science at University of Waterloo. Recently published an article with a focus on rip currents in the Great Lakes and the need for people, swimmers, anyone entering the water to learn about them, to avoid drowning, as well as that pull of the undercurrent. And the interesting thing is, you always think of larger bodies of water, the oceans, those kinds of things when it comes to rip tides, rip currents, but they're happening and in our area as well too. Chris joins us this morning. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Good morning.
You mentioned in your article that back 2010 to 2017, there was something like averaging out to be about 50 drowning fatalities each year when it came to rough surf and strong currents here in the Great Lakes. And as I was saying, we often associate strong currents with oceans, but you point out that rip currents occur right here in the Great Lakes. Maybe you can walk us through some of the ways that are created, human created as well as created naturally as well.
That's right. And we tend to think about rip currents as being an ocean thing. We use the word rip tide, which means ocean.
Right.
But in fact, they happen anywhere that you have waves that are breaking. When waves break, they throw water forward, and that water's got to go somewhere. Sometimes, if the beach is perfectly uniform, it comes back at your feet as something called an undertow.
Right.
But then where you've got a variation in the nearshore bars, the sandbars that are just offshore, the breaking is variable, and now that water concentrates into a channel and moves fast offshore as this rip current. So that is one mechanism by which they're formed.
Okay.
That's the natural way in which the sandbars are creating them. The other way is that if the current is moving along the shore and it hits a groin or a jetty, it is then deflected offshore, and it will create the equivalent of a rip current called a deflection rip. And so wherever you see a large structure like a groin or a jetty, there is a chance that a rip current may be present there.
You mentioned as well that for a lot of public beaches, I will zoom in specifically on Lake Huron, for example, we don't have lifeguards most often, so it's up to individuals to monitor their own behavior when it comes to swimming. I would think that there's problems when it comes to self-monitoring for a lot of people, and when it comes to, you mentioned everything from sort of like a social or a peer pressure when it comes to, getting into the water, as well as that idea of, well, I've done this before, it should be fine this time. Those are some things we need to kind of steer away from.
That's correct. And in fact, everyone's guilty of it, including myself. You go to the beach and you go in the water in the morning and everything is fine. And so you build up this confidence that, I can swim in this. This is safe. But by the afternoon, the winds start to pick up, the waves are starting to pick up, and conditions change. But you've already built this kind of confirmation bias in you. I didn't drown before. I'm not going to drown now.
Right.
And then once you start to see other people in the water and they're not having any issues, that is the first clue that people usually use to say, oh, the water's got to be safe, even though they're probably still making that exact same mistake.
You mentioned the fact that, you can post as many signs as you like and, that explain what's going on, but they usually are either totally ignored or not seen in the first place. What makes, in your mind, you were talking about the idea of a national sort of a safety program. Is that something that you see happening?
Well, I think the key to all of this is that passive signs and flags don't work. We ignore them, and when we go to a beach and we see a warning sign and the water is flat calm, we tend to then start to discount that warning, even when the waves start to pick up. When we start to look at a national program, we need to put an investment into lifeguards. Lifeguards are the key strategy by which you can reduce the number of drownings and also reduce the number of needs for rescues because of the intervention that the lifeguards do. So we need to build up that lifeguard base, but also build education associated with the hazards with open water. As the waves start to break, the conditions start to get worse, then you start to see those rip currents. But the vast majority of people don't realize that they're in the Great Lakes.
When it comes to lifeguards on the public beaches, for example, does the pushback come from local government where they're saying, it's a cost that we can't take on, or it's a program that we don't have facilities for? What's usually the reason behind not having lifeguards?
Each municipality has a slightly different reason as to why lifeguards haven't been the focus of an investment. Part of that is cost and the facilities, as you mentioned, and also the sense that might increase liability if there was a drowning. But it seems strange that if you have a lifeguard, you're more liable versus not having a lifeguard but having a parking lot. You're much more liable. So there's this kind of hesitancy towards it, and it is a cost. And when lifeguards are effective, you've got zero drowning, zero rescues, and it quickly goes out of memory that the entire reason is because of that.
Right. And it would be great to get back to those. And I would think if you're a parent and you're going to the beach, or a grandparent, and you've got little ones, if you're pulling up to a beach and you can see that there's a lifeguard there's that instant instant relief for a lot of people. And it's one more layer of protection, I would think, as well, too. When it comes to, I know, for example, that there are programs out there, the Swim to Survive programs, or programs for non-swimmers or new Canadians who may have never been in the water before. When it comes to that education piece about rip currents, would really have to be sort of added on to that as well.
That is correct. There are a number of ways in which that outreach can happen, that education programs can happen. We just got to make sure that it's a concerted effort and that we translate it to those environments in which they're in. We find that the vast majority of rescues and drownings and bad choices when on a beach are associated with those who have no prior experience with the coast, and as well as those who are traveling a couple of hours to get to that destination beach, and they've already invested that time and money. Building out that education in advance, that awareness in advance, is really key to making sure that the decision is made correctly to go to a lifeguarded beach, to go on a safe day, because the beaches here are beautiful.
They
we
are.
just need to make sure that we do it at the right time and in the right place.
I know you're busy, Chris, and I do appreciate your time today. And thanks for bringing this up. It allows us to have this conversation again, and we'll do so. We'll get the word out, and we've got some other stories this week that are all tied to swimming. So we'll be sure to bring those up again. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much.
That was Chris Hauser, professor in the Department of Earth and Environmental Science. He's also the Dean of Science at University of Waterloo, encouraging us to learn as much as we can about rip currents before we wade into the waters of the Great Lakes, and also the idea of getting lifeguards back onto for the first time public beaches. That's as we said before, just kind of sets that tone for people. It's one more layer of protection, and you feel a little more at ease. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, we'll take a quick look at a local organization and a program that they've developed as well. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. Never fear, he will be back next Monday. In the meantime, you've got me. Lucky you. Across the province's 24 public colleges, there's more than 10,000 faculty and staff have been let go. More than 600 programs are being canceled or suspended as well. Those numbers came out last week. One of the largest mass layoffs in the province's history. Locally, Conestoga College makes up at least 190 of those layoffs and 82 of the program cancellations. Vicky Poirier is the president of OPSU Local 238, and Leopold Koff, president of OPSU Local 237. They are joining me this morning, and thanks to both of you for taking some time to talk with us today.
Good morning.
Vicky, I'll start with you. What are you hearing from your colleagues? What is happening?
Well, I sit on our Employment Stability Committee that is part of the process of the layoffs. The local was provided notice March the 28th. So we're at the tail end of this now. We're at the end of this week. Anybody that had received a layoff notice in May, as well as those that had received it later, they're done as of the end of this week. Right.
And they're done, but they're not done. Right? How? Like, what's the next step? Where is there any sort of light at the end of the tunnel?
That's a good question. So when I mean done, they're handing in their laptops. Their final day at work is Friday. Their layoff begins actually the Tuesday. The Monday is a day for them to be able to come and bring in their equipment and any of the keys and that they may have had. But after that, then they are on recall. If they chose recall, or if they did not choose severance, then depending on how many years of service they have, they'll either be on recall option for 12 months or 18 months.
Okay.
Which means that during that time, any positions, any full-time support staff positions will then come to the Employment Stability Committee and to see if they can be utilized to recall the folks that are on the recall list. Now, during that time, they'll also have the opportunity for retraining and upgrading through any of the Ontario industry-covered courses here at Conestoga College. They would be able to do a bit of upgrading for the next 3 years.
Okay, that's good for us. And again, maybe that's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but still. Leopold, I know that one of the things that you had mentioned, the idea of really maybe no communication at all with the college. How have you found things when it comes to getting some answers or having that open dialogue with college the college staff?
Well, I'm on the Employment Stability Committee as well for the faculty, counselors, and librarians, and that it is difficult trying to get information out of the college, as has always been the case. And in fact, in 20 years I've been there, it's gotten worse, not better.
Wow.
But in fact, in layoffs, we don't have any full-time faculty layoffs yet.
Right.
But I just want to put some numbers out. The other categories of faculty that we have are partial load, part-time, and sessional. The part-time and sessional just recently became certified and are looking for the first collective agreement.
Right.
The partial load are part of our collective agreement for full-time counselors and librarians. Now, partial load last spring, summer semester was 731, part-time 1,832, sessional 129. This spring, summer, partial load are now 240.
Wow.
Part-time are 894 and sessional are 40. That's about a 1,520 reduction.
Wow.
It's not a layoff legally because they
Right.
are contracted faculty, precarious workers, and they just don't issue contracts to them. But for them, it's a layoff because they've lost their benefits, pay, and everything that goes with it. So we have had layoffs in faculty. In fact, in reality.
Exactly, and whether it's layoff in name only, that's not the case. This is someone's livelihood. It is their financial stability that's at stake. It is, as Vicky was saying, maybe they can do some retraining, but it's like this is where we're at right now, and we thought this is what we were going to be doing, and as an educator, you're committed to your students and you're committed to improving their lives, and now all of a sudden your hands are tied. There's always that I hate to call it the blame game, but the college right now, they are running it up to the province. The province is running things up to the federal government, and as I said before, in the meantime, people's financial stability and all of those things are at stake. Are there steps right now that OPSEU can take to I mean, I know we're at the end of at the end of this process, but where do you go from here, I guess, is the next step?
Well, Vicky, do you want to talk about the Save the Colleges campaign? Because that's really what OPSEU was doing right now, we have to save our colleges.
Yeah.
I mean, we're supposed to be a publicly funded, like a provincially funded education opportunity for students.
Right.
For our kids, for our adults, retraining, however you may look at it. And right now we are the lowest funded per student in the provinces. So that's a problem. There has to be some accountability for the colleges. We also have to look to the fact that if we're publicly funded, then we should not have had to, and sorry, let me clarify, the colleges, not we.
Right.
The colleges should not have had to rely so much on the international students.
Right.
But unfortunately, they have. So pushing and also, it's not just, like, this campaign, I think, is to really push it out there, to put it out there to the community, to remind them, this is a place for our children. This is the place for our neighbors to come and their children to have an education. And so now we really need to start looking to how we promote that and fund it so that we can be utilized in these coming years and get back to where we should be.
And you bring up that great point. So short-sighted when it came to, let's just keep bringing in more international students, and then the federal government says, hold on a second, let's put a cap on that. It's not a 20-year plan. That wasn't even a 2-year plan, right?
The government's old blue ribbon panel group that did a recommendation just the last couple of years ago demonstrated clearly how much more needs to be invested in Ontario's college system and post-secondary. And the government of Ontario has ignored it, literally. It's not like they didn't see this coming.
No. And we've got people at the provincial level, we've got people at the federal level, and locally who all need to look at this and be taken into account. And I'm sorry that you're having to deal with it, but I'm glad that we've been able to give you a chance to at least get it back into the forefront. And we will continue to talk about this. And I do have to wrap things up, but I'll leave the final word to you. What else can we do right now? What do you want the public to be able to do where we can support the Save Our Colleges campaign? Where can we go to do that?
If you go to Save Our Ontario Colleges,
yes.
Of course, if I had the website up right now, if you bear with me for 1 second.
No problem.
But you can go online. You can contact your local member of provincial parliament. Yes. I mean, basically, everyone needs to raise their voices.
We can do that.
The website is opseu.org/Save Our Colleges.
Save Our Colleges. All right, I will be posting that.
And one final comment.
Yes.
I mean, I just want to remind the community that these layoffs, there's going to be a trickle effect. You're going to notice that without the students here, or even without the employees here, it's going to have an impact on the community. Now we have community members that are without jobs that are going to be out looking. If you have positions available, and during a time that we know that things aren't going so great out even in the rest of the world, just to be mindful of that and
Absolutely.
To hold the province accountable.
Thanks for making that point, Vicki, and we'll wrap it up there. But again, this is a conversation that we're not going to drop. Leopold, Vicki, thanks so much for giving us some of your time today.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much, Brock.
Let's take a quick break. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
Number one for breaking news, traffic, and weather in Waterloo Region. 570 News Radio.
It is 11 o'clock. It's a hazy morning, 25 degrees 30 with the Humidex. Good morning. I'm Christine Clark with the 570 News Radio. Top story. Happening now on your busy midday commute, you'll need to plan an alternate around Wellington and Lancaster for, most likely the rest of the day. A water main break will take at least 8 hours to repair in that area, says the City of Kitchener. Right now, Wellington is closed between Lancaster and St. Ledger Street. Those living in the area can also expect some potential outages and low water pressure as a result. But getting into that traffic impact, it's time for Rogers Xfinity Internet traffic and weather together on The Ones with Luke Schultz.
Hey, thanks, Christine. Well, we're going to start off with the eastbound lanes of the 401. You still have that collision right by Cedar Creek, really slowing traffic down with the MTO now reporting 2 right lanes and a right shoulder blocked around that crash. So, really creating delays for your drive over to Cambridge. The good news is you reach the area of the Roseville Road Bridge, and it looks like it clears up. You're clear onto Milton over to Mississauga. No problems on the go for the other side of the median. The area highways are up to speed for your drive. The in-town routes still showing heavy delays around the Bridgeport Bridge over in Kitchener. There's some ongoing bridge work through there that's squeezing traffic down. Flagging operations in place to let traffic get through there, but it's slowing things down in pretty much all directions. So that's a bridge between Tyson Drive and the Lancaster Roundabout. Now, if you spot any traffic problems on your drive today, you can call us hands-free at star 401. Time now for the latest from 570 weather specialist Denise Andriecci.
30 is our high today, Humidex near 36. The heat warning continues through southern Ontario. There's also poor air quality statements for some areas due to hazy, smoky conditions from the wildfires. The high heat continues with highs near 31 for Tuesday and Wednesday. Today's high, 30 degrees.
And right now, hazy sunshine, 25 degrees, 30 with the Humidex. Keep in mind, a heat warning is still up. A special air quality statement also in effect. 570 News Time, 11:02. Well, a warning from the Public District School Board about a recent phishing attempt targeting staff and student email accounts. A statement from the Waterloo Region District School Board says multiple email accounts received fake job offers with links to suspicious-looking forms from Google. But the board says these emails did not come from them. They're part of an external phishing scam intended to collect personal information. The board says they're not aware of any accounts that have been compromised. The statement says they've blocked the email addresses and links involved, reported the fraudulent forms to Google, and removed the phishing emails from student inboxes. They've also initiated a review of the board's system to ensure ongoing security. The board is recommending to avoid clicking on any links in emails that seem suspicious or seem to be too good to be true, and to delete any unexpected job offer emails. The 4 private astronauts who rode up to the International Space Station late last month are on their way back home.
Once Commander Peggy Whitson and 3 astronauts from India, Hungary, and Poland were suited up and in their seats, the hooks holding the Dragon spacecraft to the ISS were released.
Dragon separation confirmed.
The 22-hour trip back to Earth has the Axiom 4 crew splashing down off the coast of California early Tuesday. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
News coming up next at 11:30. I'm Christine Clark.
The more you listen,
the more you'll know.
The Mike Farwell Show
On 570 News Radio.
and Rogers TV.
There you go. The sweet sounds of Phil Collins, lead singing Invisible Touch by Genesis. Brian Allison is a musicologist. He looks after This Week in Music History, found on Facebook. He chats with Mike every Monday morning, and he was willing to chat with me as well, too. And so we're happy to have him on the show. Brian, thanks for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Brock. How's it going today?
So far, so good. I am a huge music buff, so I've been looking forward to having a chat with you since I heard about the fact that I was going to be filling in for Mike. Listeners, for a full list of all the weekly stories, make sure that you follow Brian's Facebook page. You can search up This Week in Music History. I was looking and going through the stories, Brian, and what I'm going to do is I want to pick your brain for a couple of them, and I'd love to have you stick around for for the next section as well, too. So let's go back to 1968, Brian, when 4 young men from Birmingham, England, start out what would become a huge career. Let's put it that way. What do we all need to know about the band called Earth?
Well, I mean, This Week in Music History, it was yesterday in 1968 that 4 fellas whose names were William Ward, Anthony Iommi, might be giving it away there, Terrence Butler, and one John Osborne stepped onto the stage in Birmingham, England, with their very first band, Earth, and played their first ever gig. And within a year, they would make some changes. They were kind of a blues-based band to start, but they had discovered sort of a heavier sound, it's safe to say. And they changed their name to Black Sabbath, and it was history from there. And it's pertinent this week, too, because last week we saw the very final show of Black Sabbath played in England. They decided, we're going to do one last show with Ozzy because his health is not great. Yeah. And they decided to do that. And it was just a huge, massive event. Anybody who's anybody within the heavy metal world, which Black Sabbath really invented by all accounts. Right. You got Guns N' Roses there, and Metallica, and Tool, and Slayer, and Pantera, and Alice in Chains, and Anthrax. Like, what a great show, and what a great tribute to the history of this band.
Did you have the chance to see them live?
I saw Ozzy live twice. Okay. I did not get a chance to see Black Sabbath myself, but I tuned into some of the snippets from the show, and it just looked incredible. I bet. A lot of emotion, and it was great to see Ozzy outperforming again.
We, my oldest son and I managed to, actually, no, sorry, it wasn't we saw another band, but a good friend of ours, going back maybe 7 or 8 years ago, Black Sabbath was playing at a Budweiser stage in Toronto, and the opening act was Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. No, sorry, it wasn't. It was Rival Sons, and it was Ozzy and Geezer Butler and Tony Iommi, but Bill Ward wasn't there. They brought in another drummer, so it wasn't the full complement, but again, just an amazing night to be a part of that show. So, yeah, there you go. That's
awesome.
68.
There's just no way to say how much of an impact Black Sabbath came on the scene in 1968, and just, they defined heavy metal. They basically invented the genre. So that's pretty amazing. And to go from their first gig in 68 to 69, is that when Iron Man came out? The first album came out in 69, and it was a hit, sort of locally within England, but gradually over the next year or so, they became a big thing, and people were really, really into what they were doing, and remained that way, through their career, even with Ronnie James Dio coming in and doing vocals and other vocalists late in the game and some lineup changes. It was always Black Sabbath. And I know, when I was a kid growing up in the 70s and 80s, there was always that hint, oh yeah, you shouldn't listen to that band because there may be, overtones of something there. I'm like, if you listen to the words of War Pigs, it's about the fact that the people that are dying in war are the soldiers, not the generals, right? And it was really political, more so than what other people were thinking was satanic or whatever it happened to be. Just got to pay attention to the lyrics. I think Black Sabbath and Ozzy in particular sort of embraced that image of, that the music was evil, and, they would have inverted crosses at their shows and things like that. That was just to play up to, what people were saying about them. But no, there was nothing demonic about the band. It was just straight ahead rock and roll. So in that same year, really same week of 1968, the Beatles, they appear on the big screen, but it just wasn't their voices. I never knew that. Maybe you can walk us through what was happening on July 17th of 1968. Yeah, same year. So it was a big year for music, obviously. But the animated movie Yellow Submarine, which was obviously inspired by the music of the Beatles, all of their music was in it, the soundtrack, premiered in London, and it was kind of a psychedelic fantasy adventure. The director was George Dunning, and it featured the Fab Four as cartoon characters battling the Blue Meanies. And it was really kind of a cult film. People were hot and cold about it at first, but the soundtrack was big enough to go to number 2 in the U.S. and number 3 in the UK. But yeah, you're correct. The voices of John, Paul, George, and Ringo were not John, Paul, George, and Ringo. It was 4 guys who sounded like the Beatles, but were not the Beatles. And there's a bunch of reasons for this. It's been argued over the years as to why that happened. Right. There was talk that obviously in '67, when the film was being made, the Beatles were very busy. Oh, for sure. Making music and doing their own projects as well. But they weren't confident about the film's direction. They were a little worried about the animation style. Mm-hmm. And the director actually said he wanted guys who sounded, quote unquote, more Beatle-y. So than the actual Beatles. He didn't figure the Beatles sounded Beatle enough to be cartoon characters. So let's get 4 guys who sound, kind of like caricatures of the Beatle voices, which they got. And the guys who did the voices were fantastic. Right. But it was such an iconic film, and still fun to watch today. I have a Blu-ray copy of it, and it is a lot of fun. Absolutely. Brian, are you able to stick around for a while yet? We do need to take a quick break, but I'd love to talk some more stories with you. Absolutely. Love to. All right. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show here on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. Musicologist Brian Allison joins us this morning. Listeners, for a full list of all of the weekly stories, make sure that you follow Brian's Facebook page. Just go ahead and search up This Week in Music History. We've been talking about some really great stories, and I wanted to keep Brian around because I don't want it to end. Brian, a little more of a recent story. What can you tell us about the White Stripes getting themselves into the Guinness Book of World Records? What was happening? Yeah, true story. In 2007, the White Stripes are Detroit rock, all rock-based duo, and they entered the Guinness Book of World Records for the shortest gig ever played, shortest concert ever played. And it's got a Canadian connection to it because it occurred at a small club in Newfoundland. So they set up, they came into a club, and they played their gig, which was essentially one cymbal crash.
Right.
Show over.
Wow.
And Guinness recognized that as the record for the shortest song or shortest gig on record in the books. By the end of the year, Guinness would actually drop the category because they had so many. They've been swamped with applications for similar record-breaking attempts. But I'm like, is that really a show? I mean, I know you came in and you set up all your instruments.
You had a crowd there.
Stage, greeted the crowd.
Yeah.
Took your drumstick, hit one cymbal. Good night. See ya. Have a good night.
Now you gotta tell me they stuck around and played a second show that same night. Is that right?
You know what? I was trying to find information on that, Brock, and it doesn't actually say anywhere if they came back and played a quote-unquote second gig. Right. I got to think they must have. I mean, that crowd would have been livid.
Oh, yeah. No kidding. Paid to see the White Stripes play their cymbal once.
Yeah, exactly. One cymbal crashing. Okay, see ya. Go home, man.
That's quite a story. Our lead-up music today, back in '86, it was kind of the battle of the band members, or the former band members. What was happening on with Genesis in 1986?
Oh, irony! How you mock me. So with Genesis by 1986 had been around a long time.
Oh, for sure.
It started in 1968.
Yeah,
and had never achieved a top single, never hit number one on the charts, either in their home UK or in the Billboard charts in the US. So finally, we fast forward to 1986. They hit number one with Invisible Touch, which you played from their album Invisible Touch. First time they hit number one. It was on the number one spot for 1 week and then was knocked off by Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel, who was the former lead singer of Genesis. So it's just so ironic that, Phil Collins and Mike Rutherford, the guys from Genesis finally hit number one, and they get there for 1 week, and it's like, oh, our former lead singer now knocked us off the spot. But had a number one single.
Wow.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's amazing to go and look at all of the things that was happening, and I love looking back at history and music history specifically. If we were to look at some notable birthdays, who's blowing out the candles this week?
Well, we talked about Black Sabbath earlier, so we got to say happy birthday to Geezer Butler, who turned 76 years old on July 17th.
There you go.
That's
happy
pretty
birthday.
Awesome. Yeah, Linda Ronstadt is turning 79 this week.
Wow.
Stuart Copeland from The Police is turning 73. We've got Brian May from Queen turning 78. Lots of our rock heroes in their late 70s, rolling into their 80s. I have said to Mike on a few occasions, I think the next 5 to 10 years is going to be really tough because a lot of these guys who are our heroes, are going to shuffle off this mortal coil.
Yeah. And that's the challenge that, in my mind, like I said, growing up and listening to music in the 70s and 80s, in my mind, they're still in their 20s. And I'm still in my 20s. They're teenage years, but that's just not happening. What about, go ahead.
I'm fond of saying, their music, they live on because their music lives on forever. Yeah. So in a very real way, they've made themselves immortal through their music.
And there's a little bit of a touchstone there, too. We were having a discussion this weekend about, a musical artist that we wish we would have seen. And unfortunately, they're no longer here. Prince was one for me. Friends of ours had seen them a number of times, and we kept thinking about going to see Prince, but it was just one of those things where it just never happened. So when I look at this list and I think, well, I managed to see The Police. That's great. I've managed to see Black Sabbath. I'm still on the book I haven't seen Pearl Jam live yet, but that's another one to get on there. Are there, for you, do you have a bucket list and some that you've had removed from the list?
For sure. I mean, I never got to see, obviously, the Beatles,
right?
And never saw a Beatle. And I just saw this week that Paul McCartney is actually doing a show in November in Hamilton, Ontario.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tickets are on sale this week, I think.
I got to take a look at that because one of my bucket lists was to see maybe one of the surviving Beatles at some point. I would love to see Paul. So going to look into that. But I've seen I've seen a lot of guys and a lot that have passed on. I saw Bowie back in the day. I saw Tom Petty's last show in Toronto before his untimely death. That was pretty sad. So, yeah, I've stricken a lot off of my list.
Listen, Brian, thanks so much for giving us your time today. This has been a hoot. I've really, really enjoyed our conversation, and I'm filling in for Mike again in mid-August. So hopefully we get to do it all over again.
Love to. It was great talking to you today, Brock.
All right, take care.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. That was Brian Allison, musicologist, manager of the This Week in Music History. You can check him out on Facebook. It is time. We'll take another quick break. When we come back, give me a call. Let me know, let's say, your first ever album you owned. I'll tell you, one of the bands we mentioned in the past segment was mine. All right? Give us a call and see what's happening. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. The question was your first ever album. Dallas, you have been waiting patiently, and thanks for giving us a call. What have you got for us today?
Well, first of all, I got to say, I'm sorry that everybody's shunning you because you haven't had a call all day.
You're the first, man.
But,
I'll take it.
I don't mean that in a bad way. But anyway, I'll tell you a quick story. 1978, family and I, we all came up here to visit my aunt and uncle in Kitchener. We were living in Gaspé, Quebec at the time. And there was a little corner store. They lived on Pleasant Avenue, just down from St. Mary's Hospital.
Yep.
And there was a little corner store around there. And, well, at that time, cassettes were just kind of coming out. And I had my little portable cassette player. And the very first album I bought was Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Nice.
The one with the gear on the front.
Oh, yeah.
1974.
That's awesome. Thanks so much.
That was the very first album I ever had.
Well, and thanks for being my very first caller today, Dallas. I appreciate it.
God love you, man.
Take care. Mark, what about you? You've been waiting patiently as well, too. What say you? First album, Mark, you ever had? What have you got for us?
Hi, Brock. I thought I was going to break the ice. I'm your second caller today.
Well, take it, though, Mark. No worries.
Okay. I just listened to your segment, the music show there with Brian Allison.
Yes.
And did you know, Brock, that McCartney is doing a 2-month tour?
Yeah, Brian mentioned he's going to be in Hamilton, I think, in November. So Brian's going to...
November, yes.
Yeah, so he's going to try and get some tickets.
He starts in September. I think it's Nashville.
Okay.
And he's doing like 20 concerts over 2 months at the age of 84.
Unreal. And that, and it's one of those things. I saw him, he was on the... where did I see him now? Was he on Saturday Night Live, maybe, on their 50th anniversary? Anyway, I was looking, I'm like, this guy is still going. And, just amazing to see something like that. So I hope that, I don't know what the prices look, any idea what the price of the tickets look like, Mark?
I haven't looked it up yet. I don't know either. But I'm certainly going to consider going to Hamilton. I live in Kitchener.
Well, and that's that's on the list. That's on the list of things to do today is to check those prices out. Thanks so much for your call, Mark. I appreciate that as well too. Yeah, talking about the idea of Paul McCartney and getting a chance to see him. Listen, we're at the bottom of the hour. Time for an update from the 570 News Radio News Center rather. On the other side, David Drewe is going to join us here in the studio. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? I haven't seen hide nor shaggy head of that boy in 4 years. But you'd know him if you met him. Played harmonica like the cat lost his balls. Yep, Crazy Dave. Had a toothy smile as big as my hand. Always chewed on a toothpick or a long blade of grass, drank from the bottle, rolled the worst cigarettes, was impervious to insect bites. It's one of the best damn tree-planting highballers east of Prince George.
Wow. Brock Greenhalgh with you this week as Mike Farwell has earned a much-needed vacation. You know, sometimes the planets align and they allow so much cosmic force to come together in one location. That location is right here, right now, in the 570 News Radio studios, because David Drewe of Negotiating Change joins me live.
Whoa, wait 1 sec. We still have a couple things to talk about first to settle this.
Okay. Set us up, and then maybe I can get back. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, let's get to the important things here. It's like, are we going to finish this segment?
Okay.
I have a couple questions.
All right, and I will do my best, David, to answer them.
Let's play a dating game almost here.
All right.
So you walk into a bar.
Okay.
And all of the bikers are really mad at you. Which professional wrestler would you want real life backing you up? You know what I mean? Not the worker, the personality.
Right.
But which of the tough guys from any era would you want standing by your side?
I think it would have to be Haku.
Bingo! Winner, chicken dinner. Honestly, I was going to say Meng.
Oh, yeah?
Which is the same guy under a different name.
That's right. That would be, okay. I got you. Let me see here. Okay, you are the newest face in the WWE. What do you choose as your entrance music? I might have stumped David Drewe. I don't know if I have or not.
It would be, I think, the closing section. You got me thinking about Genesis as I was driving in, but way back from the Peter Gabriel area, the closing section of Nursery Crime. The musical box.
Okay.
The musical box, the closing section of that.
That's a deep cut, David. Okay, all right. Now it's on to you. You've got your next question.
Okay. Do you remember who shot JR the second time?
Oh, my. First time it was a dream. Wasn't it all a dream?
No, that was the Bobby dream.
Oh, that right.
was way later.
Oh, my gosh. Who shot JR the second time? It wasn't Lisa Simpson. No, she shot Mr. Burns.
That was Maggie.
Oh, that was Maggie that shot. Oh, my gosh. Okay, I got nothing.
To be fair, I don't remember either.
All right.
But if you had come up with the answer, that would have been major kudos. I didn't know either.
Okay, David. You write the story of your life. You get it done as an audiobook. You can't voice it. Who do you choose to voice your life?
Christopher Walken.
Whoa.
It would be amazing.
With some cowbell. Yeah. All right. Hit me up with one more. And I got another one for you after this.
Okay, yeah, last round.
Okay.
What was the worst thing about music in the 1980s?
Music of the 1980s, the whole thing.
Okay. I'm going to quibble with you here because this is my disagreement.
Okay.
I think the worst thing was the synthesizer.
Okay.
Because they had just come out with it.
Right.
And so all of a sudden everybody was doing that. If you take the synthesizer out of the 1980s, oh my God, there's a lot of beautiful songs that were done. But between electric drums and the synthesizers, it was just all really bubblegum annoying.
When you meet my wife, you'll find out that she is a huge Howard Jones fan. So you can have that conversation with her too. That we've seen him in concert. Actually, one of the best concerts we saw was in Stratford, and he played a grand piano. And it was like, why didn't you? This is how you should have.
I had a backup question about most impactful concert
case,
but no, you just sort of answered it anyway. Right. So I got a twofer.
Okay,
your turn, sir.
All right, okay. The most underrated superhero in comic book history.
Daredevil.
Nice call.
Daredevil. Honestly, I don't remember what big comic book storyline arc it was, but it was Wolverine talking about how the street level ones are the ones you got to watch out for because they have to know what they're doing. They don't have superpowers. They can't knock over buildings with their eyeballs.
Did I pass?
I think we should go forward just for the sake of, I already drove here.
Well, yeah. And, David had sent me, there was a couple of things that I realized. when it came to sort of building up the tone here without revealing too much. We'll put it that way. So David had reached out to me on Facebook last week, and I realized a few things. One, we have a common thread between us. We're not going to talk about that right now. Two, David's mind, and if you've been paying attention, his mind is extremely sharp. And three, I need to make sure that I carry a pocket dictionary around with me if I'm going to hang out with David, because there's some big words that he uses, and I had to look them up. And I was like, and then he made some references to other things that I was just like, yeah, this is going to take me some learning to do. If you're good, I don't want to step all over you though.
Oh, I just was curious though. Can I ask what you had to look up?
The grokking simpatico. I knew the term grok.
Yes.
Yes, but I was like, okay, so to grok is to kind of, I'm kind of hip to some of the jive with the kids, but I was like, did he type that wrong?
Oh, it's probably just a phrase that I invented because it made sense in my head.
Well, there you go. These are the things you're going to learn about David if you get a chance to message with him on Facebook. We will. Let's put it that way. We will dive into some of the heavier stuff, right? We're off to a good start, though, here. We also will take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to jump into some timely political topics, so stay with us. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Listeners, if you've been paying attention for the last 12 minutes, you heard our speed dating. David Drewe joins me today, and we've made some connections, and it's fun because we're kind of realizing we're on the same wavelength here. But then I know that David had sent me some questions, some content that he wanted to talk about, and I want to pick his brain on a few of them because. They're, in my mind, they're interesting things to know about, and it's totally up to you. When I looked at the list, David, the idea that you had sent the message to say that the digital services tax was as dead as the carbon tax from way back when Mark Carney first came on the scene, and your question is, did we get enough for just kind of flushing that down the toilet? What are you thinking?
I honestly am thinking we did get. Perhaps enough. We don't know yet. We really, really don't know yet. But let's consider there was no real Canadian stakeholder group who was arguing for this.
Right.
There was really just the previous federal government who wanted any money they could find.
Right.
And we're looking at this as the way to get it. But when you have no constituency who wants it, you haven't gone to the trouble of implementing it yet, what are you really giving up?
Right.
And honestly, the money they were talking about from that, I don't want to sound like it's not real money, but in the scale of what we're going to be needing to go through in the next couple of years, it's sand in the ocean. It's not a big deal. But everybody's always like, well, what did we get? What did we get? What did we get? But we gave Donald Trump the opportunity to get up and say total victory.
Right.
Whether that means something down the line or not, I don't know. But the fact that he got to declare victory on something, that might be something we can remind him of more and more.
Right.
And then, it's like, well, you don't need to get supply management that we actually care about, which, by the way, I don't.
Right.
But we as a community apparently do.
Yeah.
We have stakeholders who really, really want that in politically important areas. So we're going to stand by and fight for that. Do you remember Spy versus Spy from Mad Magazine?
Yes.
You realize right now in Canada we're at cow versus cow?
How is that?
Because dairy cows are supply managed, beef is not. And if you go to Alberta, it's like the auto sector.
Okay.
These cows are crossing the border. Their feed is crossing the border.
Yep.
Like they're fattened up on one side and culled on the other, all of this. And that's total free market.
Wow.
So when we're talking about trade concessions on one to preserve the other,
right.
It's cow versus cow.
when, if you pull back, was Carney looking at this saying, well, you know what, there's a bunch of countries that want to look at putting in a global tax. Maybe this, we make it look like we're kind of, all right, yeah, we'll let it go, but it's going to change in another year down the road anyway.
Well, and then we're not fighting it on our own.
Right.
And honestly, it's really weird because you could sort of see why all of these tech bros were backing up Trump, because they were worried about this global impact on them. And it's not so much that they want to American shore their profits. No. It's that if all of a sudden it's taxed where it's collected, it's a lot harder to bury it through a million transactions around the world.
Right. And if you pull, you look back and say, well, even Biden didn't want this thing, right? So then it means it must be real if Biden didn't want to be a part of it. The other, let's flip. We can stay federal as well. You talk about Poilievre engaged in loser talk, right? He's like, this is the way it was, and I didn't get my riding. What's going on with him?
Well, to me, the loser talk is, we won the issues,
right?
We won the debate.
Yeah.
We got our popular thing up. And all of these things are true.
Right.
But, to me, the hard way to say it that would show, I think his tone, by the way, has changed. I think his tone is a lot more humble than it used to be.
Yeah.
But his content isn't. But to me, what he should be saying is, we won the debates.
Right.
But we lost the election. We won the issues, but we lost the election. Canadians voted for our agenda, but they didn't vote for us.
No.
But, even that's not true, though, because he hit record numbers. And there is a very fair argument to say, you know what? Mark Carney got the perfect storm.
Absolutely.
And that's not happening again.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that the winds are going to blow predictably in the blue direction, so to speak. It just means that it's not going to be the same campaign.
No.
And it's quite possible that Pierre Poilievre was where he was in the polls, not because people liked him at all.
Right.
But because the other guy was that detestable.
And that's, the rock and the hard place. When as you said, it was like the perfect storm. Carney came in, and you could just see, if this had gone back to November, and the election was in November, it would have been a completely different story. And how...
Or if it had gone on another 3 weeks,
right.
The way the polls were shifting. But let me throw it to you just in this other totally different way. So you're the general manager of the Leafs.
Yeah.
And you guys lose the Stanley Cup final, overtime, Game 7.
Right.
How big a reorg do you want to take on for the next season? That's kind of
right. Yeah. Do you say, hey, we were a hair's hair's width away from that champ? We don't need to do anything.
Do you trade out your star player?
Right.
Right. And that's it's really easy to say he can't do it.
Yeah.
And have in mind that perfect other candidate who embodies exactly everything I want to see in my conservative leader.
And I can't quite put my finger on it just yet.
And then I get the guy who wins or the woman who wins. And it's invariably not what I want. But you know what I mean? I should have stuck with the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly the point. And as you're saying, he's kind of taking that step back to say, yeah, okay, well, here it goes. And I'm assuming he's playing the long game. He's saying, let me get my foot back into the House of Commons at least, and then we can see what's going to happen next.
While the House was sitting, a lot of the criticism of him was how weak it looked for him to have some no-name backbench MP standing next to him because he needed a sponsor to get to that part of the House. So once he's back in the House, he's on his stage.
Yeah.
All of this stuff about his riding gets forgotten. Oh, yeah, why did you lose your riding? Well, I told the truth about job cuts. Right. Yeah, you know what? You did.
Yeah. Yeah. But
it's
we know
politics.
You're
not rewarded for honesty,
right?
as Mark Carney can tell you right now from 24 Sussex, so to speak.
We know what truth can do when it comes to saying things like, "Hey, it might be a good idea to combine the Catholic and the public school boards." And what happens?
Elections are not the time for a serious conversation about jobs.
Oh my gosh! You know what? This is still going in a great vein. I like how things are going, David. We've had some fun. We will take another quick break, and when we come back, who knows? Maybe we got some people that want to phone. We've got lots of other things we still want to talk about. You did send me the story about the car crash up in Quebec, and I want to talk about that one as well too. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. This segment is called Drewe's Views. David Drewe joins me live in the studio. And we were hoping for a phone call, but I don't know if I don't think it's going to work. But I'd mentioned this earlier, the common thread. So on Facebook last week, I get a message from my friend Bob, and he says, Bob, Bob says, Brock, here's Drewe. Drewe, here's Brock. So we start to talk. So I went to high school with Bob, and Drewe, he means quite a lot to you in your life as well, David. Like, how is your connection? What's your connection to Bob?
I don't want to get too much into that because he's requested anonymity.
Oh, okay, all right. So Bob isn't even his real name.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
But let's say this Bob was MC at my wedding.
Okay.
Pardon me, at our wedding.
Yes. Woo! Good save, David.
Because my wife will be listening to this eventually. Known him for a million years, and as soon as I realized that we have this mutual connection,
yes,
that was why I wanted to reach out, because I was like, okay, you know what? I've never met this guy, Brock.
No.
But I'm willing to bet we could have a little bit of fun with this. And that was how the speed dating started. But yeah, if we did not have that mutual friend, this could have been a lot more boring for the listeners.
Yeah, yeah, and thanks to quote unquote Bob for making that connection for us. We've got a couple of minutes. I don't know if you want to jump into this, David, or not for a couple of minutes, but you had sent me the news story about a collision, and it was involving illegal migrants, and you were like, there's a little bit more to the story.
Well, if you read the story, it only says migrants.
Right.
It does not say illegal in any way at all.
Uh-huh.
So they could have been farm workers.
Right.
You'd think if they were illegal, they would have mentioned it.
Yeah.
But if you look at the link for the story.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah.
There,
illegal
migrants. Yeah.
Illegal migrants. Okay. There's something to it. And I mean, I go back to growing up in Chatham and the farm work that would go on down there. You knew that come spring, you would see people come up from Jamaica. You'd see people coming up from Mexico, and I never really gave it to another thought. But as an adult, starting to talk with those people and listening to their stories, and they're talking about, look, I need to make enough money to support my family, and that was, I don't know if it was kind of like swept under the rug or anything like that at that point, but it's a different story these days.
Well, I'm just like, if they'd have said illegal in the story, my mind would have gone in a very different direction.
Right.
But not in... Okay, so wait a minute. Does this mean they're going to get deported now?
Right.
What is their health care?
Yeah.
Like, are they going to get the same health care I would get after I was, taken to a hospital after an accident?
Yeah.
I had because, if you are a migrant farm worker and you're legal, you have some form of health insurance.
Absolutely.
But if these are the questions that would have come up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I went to share the story with someone else and I looked at the link and it says illegal migrants. And then I was like, wait a minute, why doesn't the story say that then?
Right.
And I mean, it's a CBC story, listeners. So I think that's why it doesn't say illegal.
Wow.
Well, no, but they were the ones who were the biggest on insisting when we were having the illegal crossers at Roxham Road that they should be called irregular.
Yes.
But the sign on the fence did not say crossing here is irregular. It said crossing here is illegal.
Because wouldn't a regular crossing be you had to come in backwards or sideways, or that would be an irregular crossing?
Or just bad bowels.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. That not.
Welcome to Canada.
Wow. We're getting a glimpse into not only Drewe's views, but Drew's, like the interview of David Drew's brain.
Skewed Drew's views.
David, thanks so much for coming on the show. This has been a ton of fun.
Thank you. I have some doggy errands I have to run. Otherwise, I would love to stay and hang some calls.
Well,
next time, maybe?
Yeah, next. And if you ever get a chance, lessons from Cats for Surviving Fascism. I think, you know what? Here, I've read it. Have you read it?
I have not,
Okay.
but I would rather you left it for the host because, you know what I mean? I think the loot,
I hear
you are getting that in trust from Mike Farwell.
There you go.
Don't steal his pens.
I do. I bought this, though.
Oh.
Anyway, that's okay. Thanks so much for your time today.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Much appreciated. You are listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
The papers and the trash. Or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Just finish cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust fly with that broom. Get all that garbage outside. Or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Brock Greenhalgh filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell today, and we have made it till the 12 o'clock hour. We did hear from Dallas and Mark beforehand, but other than that, it was pretty dry around here. So I'm glad to see we've got some people willing to share their thoughts today. It's the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour. Dave, you are up first. Dave, what say you? What's on your mind today? What do you want to talk about?
Well, welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate it.
I'm normally very positive, but I'm going to go on a little rant.
Okay, you go right ahead.
Periodically, your show, or the Mike Farwell show,
yes,
has the union's heads come on the show and spoke their messages.
Mm-hmm.
And this morning you had the unions mouth off about the low amount per student that the government, which means the taxpayer, pays in regards to each student, and which pushes the narrative that it's all the government's fault in the letting go of the other positions and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not one word in the whole topic that the conversation comes up about the exorbitant salaries, and especially the exorbitant salary of the Conestoga head boss.
Right.
Got not only is his salary way out of whack, way above everything else, but he got an exorbitant increase in pay just a couple months ago.
That's right.
And the result is the laying off or letting go of, or releasing of staff positions. And I'm tired of these union heads coming on and saying, woe is us, and not a word about the taxpayer. That's what I have to say. And have a great day, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Dave, and thanks for making that point. And important for us to hear that point as well too. And I appreciate you giving us a call and bringing that point up about our discussion we had earlier with the union presidents for the staff at Conestoga College. Kyle, you've been a patient individual as well too. What's on your mind today, Kyle?
Welcome back, Brock.
Thank you.
I would like to I'm confused. So we have the government saying that there were some more jobs, I guess, kind of added on in the month of June, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was May, but I forget now. And then I've known personally at least 4 people that have lost their jobs in the past 3 weeks.
Right.
So I and them saying, we're doing good, we're bouncing back, we're a little bit stronger than we thought we were going to be. But then everywhere I talk to, whether it's friends of mine or people that I've bumped into and all that stuff. They have no idea. You've got people saying it's slow. You've got people, saying that they're losing their jobs or they might be laid off or whatever. So I have no idea what's going on. Like last month for me, for my personal business, was slower than normal.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden this month it's picked up again. So my first quarter there, I didn't even realize that, it was the strongest first quarter I've had in a couple of years now. And so I'm confused. So I don't know if maybe I'm just asking the wrong people or whatever, but I have no idea what's going on. So I guess it's a bit of a rant because I guess it's transparency. For what, how, I'm not sure how the government calculates it and stuff.
Right.
That's a rant. It just sucks. I feel bad for these people that are, friends of mine or people that I know, or even people I don't know that are losing their jobs and, they're living paycheck to paycheck or whatever. I feel so bad for them because right now the economy is questionable. What's going to happen, right? So I just wanted to rant on that there, Brock. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, my friend.
All right. Take care, Kyle, and thanks for the phone call. And I'm sorry to hear that. And I know it's not an individual story. That story is is echoed all over the place. That idea that people are finding it difficult, and jobs are supposed to be coming back around, and it's not necessarily the case. It was, their story was coming out back in June about that this was the summer where students were just not going to be able to find a summer job, and that's only one section of the population. We've got time for one more call before the break. Dallas, you're a patient man as well too. Thanks for calling back. What's on your mind?
Well, I was just going to talk about the first gentleman's comments about the educators.
Yes.
And, people get hired and people get laid off. And it's an unfortunate part of life, if you will.
Yep.
I understand the teachers, please. There's not enough of us, there's not this, there's not that, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, in your average factory, half the time there's not enough of these, not enough of those,
right?
And they're still laying people off. So it's like, well, okay, you take your lumps and you go with it. And that's about all I got to say.
Well, I appreciate the phone call, Dallas, and thanks for sharing that information as well, too. We are going to take a quick break, but please stay with us. If you're on the line, hang in there tight as well, too. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. It's your chance to rant or rave or smile or frown. Let us know what's got you talking today. You can give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us toll-free, 1-800-570-5715. Tom, you are a very patient individual. Thanks for sticking around. Tom, what's on your mind today? I pulled out the soapbox for you.
How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
Pretty good. I think we're going the wrong way with what we want to spend. The biggest cost in the future is going to be this fires from climate change. And whether you believe in climate change or you don't, or believe partially, it's too late now. You can be the strictest one right now. It's too late. They've done enough damage. And the country's burning all over, and you want to spend. You just gave $4 billion to those a-holes in Ukraine.
Okay, all right now. Hold on now, Tom.
No,
okay.
I know. But, this is our priority right now. Forget about building the north. Nobody's coming to attack us. You want to spend $150 billion a year for NATO? Are you this stupid?
This is your chance.
Spain is pulling out.
I hear you. So you're saying we gotta turn that money back to water
Canada.
bombers and making sure that we're taking care of what's going on here.
Well, look at the fires now, and next year is going to be even more.
Even worse. Yeah.
For the first year we have in Ontario. So how soon? The more you burn, the more less is to be burned, and it's all going to be dry. And we've done it. And forget pipelines and the unions that are making big bucks they should take a look at cutting down on some of their wages, because you can't have the minimum wage supporting them. So.
Well, I appreciate all you lot, and thanks for the call. The call today, Tom. Lots of important topics there. He's got some points there to make. It's interesting. He was talking about the fires. I started my career working up in northern Manitoba in a community that all had to be evacuated, like most of them had to, back 28 years ago, and still in contact with some of the people in that community, and it's unreal, the stories that you hear. Terry, you've been hanging around for a while as well too. What say you today, Terry?
Hey, hi Brock. You were a little bit MIA there for.
I was maybe I was on tour with New Kids on the Block. You never know. But I'm back. I'm back, man.
You could have mentioned a better band, but anyway. Like the Stones or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Brock, did you? Last time you were on, we were talking about the new team there in Chatham. Did you get out to go see them at all? Or?
Yeah, we did. We went down. We got to see their inaugural game a year ago, May, and they have put together. I got to tell you, Terry, it's an amazing product that they put out there. A lot of young guys, and they have done it upright. They've just now added 400 more bleacher seats. And the people who are running the team, they're doing everything. They have like Star Wars night and bring your dog to the ballpark night, just to try and make it a more family fun venue. And I've watched them a couple of times when they've come up here to play the Panthers as well too. It's good ball, and I think there's sort of more league parity, I guess, in that it's come through. So it's great to see what's going on down there. And the other part is that the community has really rallied behind them as well. And I know that the Panthers have I don't know if they've taken a page from what they've seen in Chatham, Kent, but they've been doing the same thing. And you got to get more people in the seats, and really there's a great product to watch.
Yeah, I went down last year. I don't know if it wasn't the opening game. It was against Barrie. I guess Barrie Baycats
right.
For 2 back-to-back nights. I went to the Saturday game, an afternoon game. Yeah, it is a great environment. And then I went to a game earlier this year when they played Kitchener.
Nice.
There. I think it was about a month ago.
Yeah.
But even one of the owners, he comes out and participates, puts the old cowboy hat on.
Oh yeah, he's right in there.
I don't know if you know, I don't know his name, but I went to watch them in Brantford last summer, and I was sitting there in the bleachers in Brantford wearing my Chatham Kent ball cap that I bought earlier. And he thought I was from Chatham. I go, no, I just live up there in Woodstock, but I have been to one of your games down there. It's a great environment. He was all happy, someone, was following it. But yeah, it is a great atmosphere. The ball, we were talking about that little pump house there in right field. I don't think they can do a whole lot out there.
No, they can't.
One guy hit a home run last year right over it, which I think it's only like about 260 feet.
It's not far.
No, and then when Kitchener was in town last month, 60, I don't know his name, the guy from Kitchener, number 67 hit a couple, but his were more towards right center.
Right.
But it is unique because I love those little nooks and crannies that these parks have where it's not symmetrical. So it creates for a nice atmosphere. But yeah, I'm happy that they've got it together out there, and for their second season, I know they've slumped the last couple of games, but they're up there. They're doing well.
They came out strong, and I've talked with Dom. Dom's probably the guy that you had seen. He must drink 10 cups of coffee a day. Like he's just going all the time.
Yeah,
and it's his baby. He really takes to it. So
he loves it. Yeah, you could tell he has a lot of passion, and that's good. And I hope the problem with Kitchener is I haven't been to Jack Couch in a few years, but I noticed they got new uniforms last time I saw them, which are nice. I love them. But yeah, they got to do something with that Jack Couch Park. I was telling Mike a couple of weeks ago, I used to play ball there when I grew up in Cambridge, so I played minor youth baseball up until age 16. I remember playing games there in Bantam, midget. And we'd play at Jack Couch. It's the same 50 years ago as it is today. That park hasn't changed at all. The only difference is they used to have the old grandstand there where the soccer field is.
Right. The big Centennial State.
Change room.
Yeah, that's
and then walk across the parking lot. But now I don't even know where they changed anymore. I think they had a little temporary trailer there for a while. But good to see that the league is coming up. I wish they'd add another team to balance it out to an even 10, but we'll see.
Maybe that's in the next couple of years. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I got my fingers crossed. Anyway, It's nice talking to you.
Great. Yeah, I appreciate the phone call, Terry. Thanks so much. And I love talking baseball. Any chance that I get, Terry and I just talking about the Chatham-Kent Barnstormers team that came on last year, and they've done really well. It's still, you got a chance to give us a call. You can reach us here, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell, 1-800-570-5715. Let's take a quick break. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for Mike Farwell. He is enjoying the week wherever he happens to be. And you can hang out with me. We've still got, at 12:30, we got the update from the news center. After that, we still got time to take your phone calls. Let us know what's going on. 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cellular device. 1-800-570-5715 as well, too. We heard from Dave and Kyle and Dallas and Tom. Terry gave us a shout as well, too. You can be on that list. Give us a shout. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we are going to spend some time talking about why, returning to the office might not be the answer to our productivity problem. Maybe we want to keep working at home. Afropolitan Canada's Swim to Survive program. I'd mentioned it earlier today. We're going to talk with the founder of the organization and look at the future for that program. It has just blossomed in this past couple of years. They've got about 200 kids signed up, family members signed up for this summer. Another 250 on a waiting list, and they're hoping to continue on into the fall and maybe into the winter. We'll see what happens. We're going to talk about rats in Waterloo with my buddy JS over at the Waterloo BIA. And we've got a chance to chat some Blues Fest. Maybe you want to think about volunteering for Blues Fest. I have volunteered for Blues Fest the last couple of years. Unfortunately, I'm going to be away that time this year, but always a good time, and they're always looking for volunteers, and it's just an amazing, very, very well-run organization. Looking to chat with some folks over at the University of Guelph when it comes to coming up with some new avian flu vaccines. That's going to be happening tomorrow as well, too. My friend Carrie is going to join us tomorrow. We're going to talk food for kids, what's happening there. And we'll still have Talkback tomorrow as well, too. We're going to move things around a little bit, but we will make that happen. So that's what we're looking at tomorrow. But in the meantime, you still have a half hour to give me a call. Let me know what's on your mind. This is your chance. You can rant, you can rave, you can, kudos, to talk about, I know it's hot. Maybe you're just tired, you don't want to talk about it, but how are you staying cool? How are you going to beat the heat? Are you going to watch the home run derby tonight? What else have you got on your plate? And we'll go from there. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570, or 1-800-570-5715. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh getting to fill in this week for Mike Farwell as he gets a much-needed vacation. Not sure what he's doing. Don't know if it's a staycation or what he's doing. It's none of our business. Really. But you know what? He deserves to have himself a bit of a break. This is your chance. This is the Talkback Hour. You can give us a call. What is on your mind? 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. 1-800-570-5715. Grant, what is on your mind today?
Well, thank you for bringing that message up about the CEO of Conestoga College. And I disagree with that one other caller saying, oh, well, it's the way it goes. Not a chance.
All right. What do you say? What do you say, Grant?
I'm not good with mathematics.
No worries.
And I looked it up. If I'm working for him and he's getting that much money, I'm going to I'm going to tell them, follow me. I'll show you the homeless people. Nobody should be getting that amount of money. It's disgusting. You should step down. I already phoned up the head school to bring my frustration and the people that are working there, still working there. It tells me that it doesn't bother them at all. I would I would go off my job, and I would tell them, you know what, I'm leaving because you don't owe. Nobody is worth that much, especially when you go to the soup kitchen and someone from his place of business try to yank him there and say, look at all of these people. I'm on a fixed income, and this Yahoo that seems to think it's okay. No, and I don't know what union they belong to, but I think they must be insane of thinking that that's okay.
Well, I appreciate that call, Grant. There's the folks we were talking to today aren't unionized, along with you first mentioned the director at the college. Yeah, but I hear you. There's frustration there, right? There's the haves and the have-nots, and it does get frustrating. And this is your chance to air your grievances. Greg, what's on your mind today, Greg?
Hi, Brock. Actually, I've been at a question for the longest time based on your Ask the Expert show that you do.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Because my back is really screwed up, and everybody that thinks they had the answers, so far, everything's failed. And I don't catch all the shows that you do. I just know that you talk to the pain clinic. Mm-hmm. And are they like an OHIP covered thing, too, that people can go in? Or do you got to have personal insurance? Or...
you know what that is? That's a question that I've never asked Greg, and I don't want to say yes or no because I don't know the answer. But if you give Dr. Muna's office a call, and they will be able to answer you right away. And I know that might be the first step in getting you some support for sure.
Yeah, because that's one thing that like my doctor says, sure, look into it, and if I need a note, he said he'll refer me, no problem. And he says, and anybody here out there that's had some success somewhere, let's do it kind of thing. So I'm exploring options, and that's one I've been meaning to just look into a bit more. But I would need the OHIP coverage because, on my own, that wouldn't quite work. But,
no, I hear you. Okay. Yeah, give them a call and let's see what happens.
Okay, that's one thing. And then here's a rave for the day.
Go for it.
I'm going to rave about Jen, who answers the phone. She does it in such a cheerful way all the time.
Oh, Jen.
Like she's chatting with you almost as though you were long-time best friends kind of thing. Just nothing against the other guys, but just, her style on the phone, it's just so welcoming. And it's wow, it's almost like, do you know me? Because you're talking like you do. But so seems like an awesome person. Great job, Jen.
She's blushing. I can see it from here. Thanks, Greg. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I'll be calling again sometime.
Oh, that sounds good. All right. Thanks so much for the call, Greg. Greg is giving kudos to Jen. She's our producer. And, she's just answering the phones and making it all. She's clicking all the buttons and doing all the things that I don't know how to do, which is important for us to be able to do that. Paul, what's on your mind today, Paul?
I've been looking online. I've been checking all the different news outlets and whatnot. And since last week, I haven't been able to find anything in the way of a retraction by the RCMP about comments that were made by one of their staff sergeants last week.
Okay, tell me more.
The staff sergeant that said having traditional values makes you a right-wing extremist.
Okay.
I keep looking. I would have expected it was broadcast on CBC.
Right.
So understandable, they may not want to retract it because, it's traffic to their site. But I would have thought that the RCMP would have stepped up and made some sort of a correction, saying that having, good values, traditional values, does not make you a right-wing extremist. But I can't find anything.
No, it's just
in
been
the news,
and it's like it's just been washed over.
Yeah, like Fox News. Canadian police spokeswoman warns traditional values. New York Post, Canadian police official warns traditional values may be extremist. And then, of course, you've got the articles on Juno, the Telegraph, Western Standard, all these other ones, the so-called right-wing news outlets. Okay. But I haven't seen a single retraction from the RCMP saying that, no, having traditional values does not make you a right-wing extremist.
Well, and I appreciate that phone call, Paul, and we'll I'm going to do some digging too, because and again, this is what this is all about. You get a chance to rant, you get a chance to rave, you get to ask some questions. I don't know all the answers, but I can start looking them up. We will take another break. I know I've got Andre on the line. Don't go anywhere, Andre. I want you to stick around. It's your chance. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us 1-800-570-5715. It's the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour. It's your chance to rant or rave or smile or frown. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh's filling in for Mike Farwell this week. Andre, you are a patient man. What is on your mind today, Andre? Thanks for the call.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Andre, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Oh.
I'm dealing with the kids that you left behind.
Oh, wasn't me.
Okay, there you go. We're all good.
Perfect.
So, yeah. Hi, Mr. Broccoli.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Can I call you Brock for short?
You can call me Brock. Yes, you can. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Well, no. No, we were having a laugh earlier because my son, I was telling him that you're going to be probably his next teacher if you don't retire before. But, and that's what I told him. I was like, you told me, and he heard that before he went to the shower. He said that you said to stay there and don't move and come back, you know what I mean, pretty much. And my son was laughing. I was like, no, it's okay. I'll get him back. He's not my teacher. I'll call him Mr. Broccoli, and he laughed his face off.
That was the nickname growing up for sure. Yeah, I get used to it. I get called everything, man. But it's all good.
I'm so sorry.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, I've got a couple of years before I can retire, so fingers crossed.
Oh, you're such a nice person.
Thank you, sir.
I know a lot of kids around here, and you're a very nice person. So, yeah, I got, unfortunately, question and a rent.
Okay, go for it.
My first question, I don't know, you can look it up, is I see it all over the place, but you never know with Facebook. Is it true that Sidney Crosby is going with the Montreal Canadian? Because Farwell's not there, so I can misbehave.
You can say the words. No. Yeah. No, I think he just signed another contract with Pittsburgh. He's happy he wants to be a lifelong Penguin.
I thought he was doing the last dance with Montreal.
No, this is how he wants. This is his swan song. How he wants to go off into the record books.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And then my rent on Friday. Of course, when we talk about chocolate, isn't chocolate names like more like a sexual thing? But when the name they were called, like cherry blossom or all these different words for chocolate, right?
Oh, okay. I'd never really thought about that before.
Okay. So Friday they had a game with Mr. Farwell, and not allowed to call him Mr. Farwell.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He told the pants, fix his chair, and all that stuff. You got to do it, Brock, on Friday. So now he's at the beach, and I told him to do this, and he liked it. But the thing is that I have to get off my chest because I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite chocolate bar?
Oh, gosh. Kit Kat.
No, it's not bad.
Okay.
Don't tell me how you eat it. So now I told him that when I was a ski monitor in my younger age, I used to go up the chairlift, and I used to eat like 10 crunchy bars, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is, until I met my wife in the future, she told me, why are you buying crunchy when there's hardly no chocolate?
Right. It's all the sponge toffee.
Yeah, so, if I'm going to buy a sponge bar, I might as well buy it for 35 cents, dip it in chocolate, then I got my
called it a day.
Bar.
Yeah.
So I told him that my next one, when I met her, was Henry. But him and my wife and a coworker, they said that when they eat that and a Twix, they eat it pieces by pieces.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're
I hear
weird.
you.
They're weird. Lots of patience, right? But then he told me before he got off, he's like, a crunchy bar, it depends how you eat it.
Huh.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Seriously.
Yeah, I hear you. What a guy.
So he left me with that thought all weekend, and
and now he's not, and he's not even going to be around for another week.
I don't know,
What a
but I
guy.
know Lori came out with a good one, and she said that if you dip it in your Bailey, I think that's a great way of doing it.
I love it.
Okay,
Thanks
but
for
I
the
want
call,
to say
Andre.
also, Brock, that I do listen to you on the weekend with Dr.
Muna and everybody else.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then Tracy Valco.
Yeah, and I've been off for a couple of months with, so I had a knee replacement, so I haven't been able to do the shows, but we're going to get back at it.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Because, with my work injury, I got so many problems, and, it's great information. And the other one with Tracy Valco, we are looking to buy a house hopefully soon. Great information. You're a great person, Brock, and keep up the great work, and make sure you keep my son Winter in line.
You got it. Thanks so much, Andre, for the phone call. Wow. A lot of great calls. Sandra, I do see you there. Please don't go anywhere. I do need to take one more break, and I want to have a chance to chat with you, Sandra. So give us a call. We got one last kick at the can here. 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell, 1-800-570-5715. Give us a shout. Let us know what's going on. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. Mike will be back next week. Sandra, you have been very patient. I would love to hear what you've got to say, and I'm going to turn things over to you. What's on your mind today?
I'm just following up on that last conversation with Paul.
Okay.
On Friday, just before Mike left to go on vacation, he did a editorial, I suppose that's what you would call it, about the comments that RCMP officer presented.
Okay.
Unfortunately, everybody, Paul included, have only taken a few of her words and then ran like crazy with them and vilified this RCMP officer. She didn't say if human rights values, blah, 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 are bad. What she said is and I'm going on what I think I understand to be correct, she commented about the fact that if you have a very open relationship with your people, with your partner, and it's a very come and go, very, everybody kicks in, everybody does everything, very, there's another word for that I'm looking for, and I can't find it.
That's okay.
But it, and then all of a sudden, that person turns into dictatorial. You will do it this way. You will do it that way. Yeah. You can't have this. You can't do that. You can't do the next thing. There's food for thought there.
Okay.
And the other thing is that woman's first language is not English.
Right.
And the one thing I do remember that he said is there is no way ever again this woman is ever going to be talked to anybody in the news ever, because they've just taken everything she said and spewed it all over in different directions and picked up on one sentence and ran with it.
Well, I appreciate that call, Sandra, and I will need to do some. I'm going to have to go back and actually listen to Friday's show and give me some.
Just at the very end of his show, it was like the last whatever minute left on his show, and he was very clear,
right,
that that she has been vilified over the head of this, and some people just want to stir the pot.
Right.
As opposed to letting the pot sit still.
Gotcha. So it's like when the teacher goes away and there's a supply teacher.
Oh my God. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Some people want to push things and see how far they can go.
I come from a long line of teachers. So I hear you. I hear you. I recognize it. I know what you're talking about.
Well, and I mean, you when you've got some people call in and they keep circling back to the same thing, and you know what? Sometimes I don't bite, and there's a reason why I don't bite because. Right? That's just the way that it goes. Anyway,
because you've listened to enough Farwell to know better than bite. Anyway.
Thanks for ending the day like this, Sandra. I appreciate that phone call.
Enjoy the rest of your week and
Thank you.
And be well, okay? I know what recovering from knee surgery feels like. So be well.
I will do that, Sandra. I appreciate the phone call. And thanks so much. Enjoy your day. That's a wrap. That's a wrap on our Monday edition of the show. Mike would say, be kind, everyone. Have a great day. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for Mike. He'll be back next week. You have been listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570